Ajay, congratulations on closing the merger and becoming a publicly traded company today. I think let's start a little bit with the business proposition of your company. I mean, I think back to a couple months ago, speaking to the CEO of Freeport-McMoRan, and one of the things he was saying is we could potentially see copper shortages as the world converts to EVs, because in terms of some of these materials that go into these vehicles, there just isn't enough.
Yeah, no, spot on, and pleasure to be on, Morgan. Thanks so much. This is a great day for the company and a great honor to be here. Look, we're a commercial business, and, zooming out, the recycling piece of the electric vehicle supply chain has been a huge question for a long time. I think people, even consumers, ask, hey, where are these batteries going to go? And it's not just batteries end of life, it's also scrap. As you make batteries, it's not perfect. So back to your question, Morgan, there's also critical material issues, lithium, nickel, cobalt. These are all critical, obviously, to go into batteries and are needed in vastly greater quantities than we're going to be able to produce at battery grade. Yeah. So recycling can be an alleviator to that, and we're a commercial business on that track, scaling with our customers to help solve that problem and much more.
So let's talk about the technology that actually enables that, because historically the dirty secret of clean energy has been things like these batteries that, at least until now, have not been recycle friendly.
Yeah, so we're basically the urban mining, and our roots, we're technical folks by background, but also commercial. We've innovated a patented, scalable technology that we own and have the customer relationships both on the way in and the way out. That's non-thermal. So, historically, sometimes batteries would go into thermal operations where a lot of materials are burned off. I think consumers and those in the supply chain, you can't really subscribe to that, right? A battery end of life going to that supply chain. So what we do is both economically sustainable, but also environmentally sustainable. And this is the key to really that last missing step of the overall supply chain. Now, where are we? We're a commercial business, recycling the equivalent of thousands of tons of lithium-ion batteries per year today, and we're scaling in lockstep with our customers, like Ultium. Ultium is the General Motors and LG Energy Solution joint venture. So we have these customers that are rapidly scaling, have issues starting with scrap, in terms of production rejects, and that's a first wave of material. And they also have the need to secure units, secure lithium, nickel, cobalt. So we're the answer to both those. Think of Li-Cycle as the picks and shovels story for the electric vehicle revolution.
So Ajay, I mean, clearly more take-up of EVs would be a positive for your business. I can see that. That said, if we get much better innovation in that space from the EV companies or the battery suppliers and makers, such that the batteries last longer, they're better, they're more enduring, is that a bad thing for you?
No, and I think this is something where people have a knee jerk. They say, hey, aren't you just going to be waiting for batteries to die in 10 years or whatever it might be? So, give the case study of Ultium, other, producers of battery cells. When you make battery cells, of course, it's not perfect, albeit you could have a few percent scrap. It's not a huge percentage, but when you make a lot of batteries, that's a lot of material. So think of that as the first wave that's enabling us to set up the infrastructure to deal with phase two, which is the future tsunami. And so this is really urban mining at the first scale, which enables financials at a very good level, using patented, proven technology, but then also setting up the infrastructure for the future. So back to your question, Wilfred, no. I mean, we do keep track and very close to the battery industry, but that's not a huge, risk for the near term and the medium term.
Ajay, talk to me about this growth trajectory. It looks like sales are expected to grow from 12 million this year to roughly 75 million next year. You're expecting that to ramp to 1 billion by 2025. How does that happen, and how does that enable profitability?
Yeah, so our unit operations are unit profitable, like on a unit economic basis. And unlike other businesses, our business scales with tons. So the more tons we recycle, the more we make revenue and EBITDA. So again, going back to the Ultium example, that's, 1 gigafactory that they have, already being constructed at the tail end in Ohio. That facility and others, just a few gigafactories of scrap, really fills our first, larger scale facility in Rochester, New York. And that's the contracted part of our revenue. As they're scaling, we need to keep up. Take Ultium as another example, General Motors, 30 EV models. They have already the Ohio gigafactory that's being constructed. They've announced 3 more. So back when we announced the transaction in February, we're continuing to try and keep up. And that's where we are. We're scaling in lockstep with our customers, and it's really proliferating more of what we're doing, and it's already unit economic to be profitable.